Then you come back from that deployment. You'd think maybe you had enough yet. Not really.
On that in that vein, I sat down with that commanding officer of Team 3 at the time, and I'd gotten orders to an East Coast team, and he was doing my final fit rep and sending me off, and we had a pretty good relationship. And he said, "Mike, the last thing I want to leave you with is at some point it becomes about family." And I'm looking at him, and I pause for about 10 seconds, and I say, "Roger that, sir." But within the hamster wheel turning in my head was, are you freaking kidding me? I'm going to deploy as much and as often as I can because this thing is not going to last forever. Yeah. And I'm going to another command with a bunch of warriors, and I want to get right in stride and deploy as much as possible. But in retrospect, towards the end, I realized what he was trying to tell me. At some point, you got to pull back.
Yeah. So it only took you another,
7 years?
7 years to figure that out. So you get out to the East Coast, and now you're doing just more deployments.
Yeah. First one was to Afghanistan with a great group of guys, man. I loved these guys. Different feel to them. But my first mission out was probably one of the toughest missions I've ever been on in terms of just like terrain, because we're in Konar province now, and how I would describe Konar province is Mantown. Take some of the worst areas of the Colorado Rockies, and then maybe multiply it by 2. And the enemy, this was their territory. They had prepared positions. It was a dangerous area. And to put it into perspective a little more for the listeners, of all the medals of honor within Afghanistan, I think the majority, all of them, were in that Konar Nuristan area, to include Dakota Myers. Yeah. And on the first mission, it just was like an 8-hour suck fest. And actually, so Adam Brown was killed on that operation, and that was my sort of baptism to fire to that new unit. And I remember I looked at a good friend, Jonas, who was killed on Extortion 17. I said, hey bro, are all the missions like that? He was like, no, that was the toughest one I've ever been on. And I'm like, oh, okay, good. So I just want to make sure I need to get my head right. If
little sanity check. Yeah. You're like, oh no, what did I get myself into?
But it was good to work with that team and get that experience. And then I got a lot of time with the maritime side as well, the boats. But did in all with them, what was that? 7 more deployments with great guys, and lost some more brothers, namely Extortion 17, which was the largest loss of life in Afghanistan. It's a travesty when we lose one soldier, Marine, sailor, or airman, but when you lose 31, that is just that hits the military. To the listeners, they may say, well, 31 soldiers, you guys can easily recover from that. No, you can't. All the man hours that go into training those guys, the level of proficiency they had accrued over years, that is a catastrophic failure or detriment to the military. That is a loss of a lot of capability, yet alone the pain for those 31 families, the children, not the orphans, but the kids that are left behind, the wives that are left behind. I mean, that will never have any solace other than that their loved ones were doing what they believed in for them, defending them. But overall, I mean, great 7 years and just nothing but lessons learned and leadership lessons in terms of being a troop commander. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, my last experience, I learned a lot, which was not my best leadership experience. You look at extreme ownership, and there's ways I could have handled certain situations better. And I think I reflect on my entire military career just on, man, I could have done that better.
That's what we all do.
Yeah.
Sit back and think, man, we could have done that better.